Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.
Oh, here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tuss Talk with Ty on an unusual Tuesday night. Yeah, anymore, it reminds me of back when I was a reactionary channel, when I would just create reactionary content. So, again, this is why you hit the notification bell and you make sure you click all under notifications. That way, did I put wrong opponent? Are you serious? Did I put Florida? I did, didn't I? I put Florida. Thank you for the catch. Hold on. Let me fix that. Yeah, hold on. My bad. I was in a rush. I put Florida for the poll. So I was watching Florida earlier on my phone. Yeah, so we're going to end that poll. Good catch. Tell me I got that right on the thumbnail, because I was like, y'all have no idea how crazy today has been for me. I had a doctor's appointment for my oldest kid. And then we had back-to-back parent-teacher conferences, my God, at Lisa Academy in Springdale. And then I got home and I was like trying to listen to Silverfield, trying to listen to the coaching staff, trying to jot down notes and get all this film cut. And then I was speeding through it. Did I get it right on the I did it again too on the original. Okay, good. I fixed some of that. All right. I think it's just on the poll, right? Yeah. So we'll just have to, let me make another poll. Hold on. Appreciate you guys for being here. Hold on. Pick winner. Arkansas, Bama. How about that? We'll just make that quick. I don't know why I've had it in my head all day. They're playing Florida. And I even watched, it started because I watched Florida. I was watching some Florida stuff, and that's where it came from. There we go. Okay. Pick winner, Arkansas or Bama. Maybe I should put their rank. I don't know if that really matters. Number 20 at 25. Like all day, man. All day. I even was in a group chat, and I said something about playing Florida, and nobody corrected me. So now that makes me mad at that group chat. All right. Did we get it right that time? There we go. New poll up. Pick winner, Arkansas, Bama. Of course, Arkansas traveling to Alabama. It's going to be an interesting game. Going to be a very interesting game, man. A lot of threes going to be taken by Alabama. I think they take the most threes in the country. It's like it's a lot. The good news is I've done the Alabama homework. Alabama averages about 36 3-point attempts a game. So we're going to talk about that game towards the end. We're going to react. We're going to react to what Silverfield and his coaching staff said today, what they had to say. We finally got to hear from all of them. That's such a treat. Nothing against Pittman. I don't understand why you wouldn't let your assistants talk. I think I seem to remember someone, and it might have even been Pittman, saying that, a lot of assistants don't want to do that. They don't want to talk to the media. I don't know. In this day and age, man, why wouldn't you? You want as much exposure as humanly possible. I did get the vibe that Ron Roberts, honestly, maybe all three of them, but especially Ron Roberts, I don't know that he wanted to be out there. I don't know that he wanted to be there. He just kind of looked like, God, I'd rather have a cold beer and watch tape than have to be here. I don't know. So I don't know if you guys got to catch that. We could go for 2 hours talking about everything that was said today. I do need to go back and rewatch Silverfield and some of the when they had the 3 coaches up. I do need to go back and rewatch some of it because again, today's been hectic. I've had my mind on Florida, and I don't know why because Bama's going to be an incredibly difficult game. I don't know why I'm going to Florida. I guess because Florida's in my face everywhere. Florida's in my face. Jay Bilas has Florida as the top SEC team in his top 68. I don't know if you guys saw that on ESPN. Maybe that's where it started. Who knows? Appreciate everyone. Good Lord. Appreciate those of you that are here. Make sure you share the content. So yeah, money talks, bullshit walks. What it seems like from the coaching staff recently says Woo Pig 00. Yeah, so can't be too thrilled. Listen, it sucks that you know what? I'm just gonna take that down, Mac. It sucks to lose somebody, but a second coach, Clint Trickett, was going to coach the quarterbacks, is off to go. He's going to coach the Maryland. He's going to be the offensive coordinator at Maryland. Likely a big boost in pay. I actually don't know what he was making here, and I couldn't even tell you what a QB coach only makes. And I'm sure he was going to be in, I don't know about an analyst role here, but I'm sure he was going to have some say in the offense, I think, to some extent. Kind of after listening to these coaches today, it kind of had me thinking about that, It sounds like they really want to mold their system on both sides of the ball around the personnel. So I'm sure someone like Trickett might have had, even though he's young, 33, I think 34, hasn't been in the coaching game super long. I'm sure he would have had some, hey, here's what my quarterbacks are doing. Here's what's going on in drills. Here's how they look in terms of, when they do those passing drills with the receivers. So maybe he would have had some say. I don't know. Maybe none. I don't know. But, yeah. So he's off to Maryland. Probably going to get more pay. Almost positive he's going to get more pay. And it's a big career move. I don't blame anybody. And I'm seeing people on Twitter freak out over Arkansas losing two coaches already. Listen, first off, it's February. It's mid-February. I'm not that upset about coaches leaving now. I'm not that upset about it. If anything, it's a pretty good sign that you're hiring the right people. I don't know. It kind of sucks. I wanted him here. I would like to have seen him. Both the guys that have left. Marion Hobby. He's going to go coach the Colts. And so on Hobby, as a matter of fact, Silverfield was asked if he would hire a replacement for Hobby. His response was Kenji Cotton's a defensive line coach that I've got great faith in. He's a guy I actually targeted as soon as I got this job, pulled him from the NFL, a guy with great experience. So you look at it, we still have a defensive line coach, and I have great faith in Coach Cotton and what he's been able to do. So, no. And I think they're going to just go with it, right? Not surprised. He kind of, if you listen to him today, it's kind of like it's almost like he hired 2 coaches for this very reason on both sides of the line of scrimmage. At least that's kind of – he didn't say that. He didn't come out and say that. But that's kind of what I got from it. We got 2 – I forgot exactly how but you could see it on his face. This was kind of I'm playing 4D chess, fam. I don't know. Maybe he's just – it is unheard of. It's not – let me take that back. It's not common – to have 5 when you include the tight end coach, really, when you have that many coaches that coach the line of scrimmage. That's not common. So maybe he was playing 4D chess and he's out in front of everybody. I will say, well, you know what? I don't even want to. I'm going to let you guys listen to these guys talk, listen to the coaches talk. Yeah. So pull up my you know what, the other thing, we didn't test I did not, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to find out if this works. Hold on.
The numbers for Arkansas on the defensive front and secondary maybe were low and maybe not SEC quality.
Tell me if you guys heard that, by the way. I did not do a test on OBS to make sure that the audio was through correctly. Marcus Brown says, go get Clint Sterner. Yeah, that's going to be the question about the quarterback coach. I don't know that you go get Clint Sterner. Maybe, hell, I don't know. I mean, it's clear that Silverfield wants to have a connection with Arkansans. He's gone on and on about that. And to be honest with you, he talks about recruiting, making sure, like he's pointing out that that's a big positive, that he's recruiting all this in-state talent, and he's wanting to reach out to the former players and make sure they know they're welcomed. He knows that is like the heartbeat of Arkansas fans. Like there is something about, especially the guys in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, the fans, I should say. They like it when you do recruit their state, recruit their players to go play for Arkansas, not Arkansas State, nowhere else, Arkansas. And you know, they like that. And I think Silverfield has tapped into that. Now, whether or not I think that might be a bit of an overcorrection, if you want my honest opinion. I want you to go get the best talent, but I don't want you to abandon the pipelines that are already established. Now, to be fair, sometimes you lose a staff, once that staff is out the door, you know, and you're trying to, you know, reconnect, you know, especially when, you know, you've got an AD who seems more corporate than he does local. I don't know. Hunter Yurchek does not strike me as the type of guy who reaches out and talks to a lot of local high schools. I don't know. Frank Broyles, we know, had some kind of a relationship with the state. But, you know, the traditional pipelines are always in where? Dallas, Fort Worth, right? Of course, within the state. And the borders, we recruit Tulsa. You know, we used to recruit parts of Louisiana. We completely abandoned that. That would be my question, Coach Silverfield. Do you plan on getting into the state of Louisiana, the state that per capita produces a ton of NFL talent? A ton. When you look at per capita, like, it's kind of crazy. So are we going to dip back in? Because we've had some fantastic players come out of the state of Louisiana. I'm just saying. All right. Ty, was the overcorrection needed with the direction of in-state recruiting was headed? I see where you're coming from. Hopefully it's just in words only, right? Hopefully his execution is not that he's going to super prioritize the state of Arkansas when it comes to recruiting. Listen, you got to get back into Dallas-Fort Worth. You got to get back into, well, it looks to me like they want to go east of the Mississippi, really, especially Florida, Georgia. That's fine. You got to go into those places too. And the good thing is Pittman did set up a pretty interesting pipeline to that part of the country where only like Brett Bielema ever had success. I mean, you remember Bielema felt like he could walk into Florida and grab, I mean, you know, again, Alex Collins, Denver Kirkland, several others I can't think of right off the top of my head that were from, I mean, you've had players from the state of Alabama. Trey Flowers was from Alabama. Now, that was what year did Flowers come in? I actually do not remember. Was he not a – oh, my goodness. I got to go do my homework on what class Flowers was a part of. But anyways, you've had some great players from east of the Mississippi, so I'm fine with that. Okay. Someone just says yes. I don't know. Okay. Okay, maybe you're responding to Texan. Bingo Ty. Let's see. Bingo Ty speaks well about the hires. Hogblitz says Ty. It proves Silverfield can hire coaches. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying. These guys want to coach with him. In fact, that was one of the questions that was asked of the coaches. Cramsey, I think it was aimed at Cramsey, or it might have been aimed at all three of them, about following Silverfield, and they made the comment of what type of, you know, the character that he is and the type of coach that he is. Very good to see. Very good to see. So, going back to Trickett and now losing your two coaches, to sum that up, really just let's just wrap a bow around this son of a bitch. It's fine. You shouldn't be freaking out. If a quarterback coach, I think you want someone who's probably, again, I don't know what the hell system they're really going to run, because it sounds like they just want to run something around their personnel, what they have and what the guys are capable of. Sounds to me though, you're going to need to find someone who you've either previously worked with. Maybe he can pull someone. I don't know. We know Silverfield's got connections into the NFL. Maybe I'm not saying he's going to go pull a coach, but maybe a lower level guy like an analyst. Maybe someone who's from the region. I don't know. Maybe someone who's going to give you a recruiting boost in one part of the country or another. We're so brand new to all this. Who really knows what the hell they're going to do and what they're looking for? But obviously we didn't get a answer on Trickett because this happened apparently right smack dab in the middle of when they were talking to the media. Oh no, Kirk Hanna deleted his comment, or a mod got him. Uh-oh. Wonder what you said. Hogblitz says, Ty, it was mentioned months ago about a possibility of Hunter stepping away. Yeah, like in May or June at the end of the academic year, I guess. Do you remember that? Anyway, it happens. I haven't talked to anybody about Hunter Yurachek's job security, especially after the fact that we were told for weeks from people very well dialed in the media that Hunter would not be making the hire, or that he at least wouldn't be around to see it, or something to that effect. We were also told he was given a timeline. Maybe he did enough to keep his job for now. I don't know. Who knows, man? And now you're in a situation where you've got Silverfield, and who seems to be backed up pretty well by Hunter. Whether or not it doesn't matter. Throw out your love or hate of Hunter. I doubt anybody here right now loves Hunter, but throw out your feelings about Hunter. If he does facilitate, and of course now they're working with NIL, it always feels like they're behind the gun there, or they're just flat out behind in the NIL. It seems like they are trying to facilitate. I don't think that both of these these two coaches that left, listen, one went to the NFL, one went to go be a freaking coordinator. They didn't go to take the same damn job. They didn't take a lesser job. They didn't take a lesser, in relation to what they had here, they got promoted. That's usually a pretty damn good sign, man. I'll just leave it at that. Trey Flowers, 2011. Okay. All right. He was a Petrino. Yeah, I think that was around the same time. So Beckett was here. I think Chris Smith, boy, they had some good defensive ends in that time frame, that 4 or 5 year window. Yeah, he was from Huntsville, Alabama. Really good player, man. Really good player. Went on to the NFL, made some bank. I said no one. Oh, Kirk's explaining why he deleted his comment. I said no one wanted Pittman's coaches outside Bryles. Well, to be fair, Odom did get a promotion. Odom did go. Now he's at a good gig. Well, I say a good gig. He's at a P4 gig, but he left for UNLV. But yeah, you're right. A lot of those coaches, I don't know how many of them actually took promotions. And we know what happened to the. We know what happened to the defensive side of the ball. All right. I was trying to get us to about the 20-minute window here so we can start watching this, and we're getting close. Again, I do appreciate everyone for being here. Make sure you like, share, hit the subscribe button, okay? I really do appreciate it. Oh, it wasn't me, Austin. I didn't delete nothing. He's not even in here. What are we talking about? All right. Let's squeaky damn chair. Let's take a swig of the Corona Sunbrew. You guys had this? Dude, it's fire. Corona Sunbrew is fire. I also got some pineapple whiskey. I cannot wait to start drinking this. This weekend, baby. We're going to have predictions. That is, by the way, the post-live XP question. We're bumping it from 4K to 5K. This is after the show is live. You tell me after. Give me your winner, because we didn't do that for our predictions. We did a over-under on points, which was, again, if you're in Discord. If you're not in Discord, join and go get in on this. Over-under on 180.5 total points scored. But I want you to tell me the winner for the and you could do it now, and obviously you're doing it with the poll, but you could tell me why in the live chat. Oh, man, the other side of the alcohol, the carbonate, or the burping, the burps with the burps. So I want you guys to tell me Give me the winner and tell me the score. You can go into depth, man. I love it when you guys go into depth. When you give me like, oh, A-Cup's he's gonna score 34. You know, he's gonna have a double, 34 points, 10 assists. He's even gonna have like a couple of blocks. Ty. He's even gonna have a couple of blocks. He's gonna go 9 for 10 at the free throw line. Yeah, right. He won't get that many attempts at the line. They don't ever give him the benefit of the doubt when that dude drives. Why doesn't he get to the free throw line more? All right. Let's rock this. Let's rock this SOB, shall we? Let's fire away here. I'm gonna have to remove the sponsorship logo on the bottom. Again, shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than the best. 1,000 total 5-star reviews, and all they do is win, win, win. Central Arkansas. You got garage door issues, give Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, your business. They're local. They're a long time. They're the first sponsor of this show. They're still the sponsor of this show. So go hit them up. Go hit up my boy Travis. They do good work. They do outstanding work. Okay. So I got to remove the sponsor off the page here. Don't need any cease and desist letters. Here we go. Where you at? Where's my road tape?
The numbers for Arkansas on the defensive front and secondary maybe were low and maybe not SEC quality. What do you think of the personnel you now have, defensive line, defensive front, and then in the secondary?
Sure. I mean, the majority of the carving out was from the defensive side, right? If you look at especially returning players, we returned one defensive back from Arkansas from last year. And you could say, was that by reason? Was that, listen, I think a lot of it is the one-on-one conversations with the players, right, that we're thinking about returning. Guys that were saying, hey, I may go in the portal. Guys that were not sure if they were looking for greener pastures, more money, better playing time, whatever that may have been. It just naturally didn't work out for them to come back. And so, we returned one guy in the secondary, but I think we've added some really good quality pieces. And you can sit there and say, well, this guy wasn't All-American here. I think we've got quality depth throughout the entire defense.
Hey, quality depth. He watches Tuss Talk with Ty, baby. Bring it on. Let's go. Quality depth. He says they've got some of it.
And, we returned a guy like Quincy Rhodes Jr., who announced, right, in the press conference he's coming back, and obviously he's a key piece. But then what do the rest of those pieces look like? And you may say, well, if they're not flashy names, that's okay, right? They're guys that have played some quality football. Guys, we got some young guys that you go back and you have to watch their high school tape and say, okay, hey, this guy, yeah, you're right. He's got some traits that I think can carry over. Maybe he's going to play a little bit more this year if he didn't play in the past. But I think on all three levels of the defense, like you just talked about, a lot of new faces. But we're excited. You get to see them run around right now and work out and how they learn. But what's it really going to look like when the pads come on? I think especially for defense, especially the defensive line, you get to see what we really have.
Yeah, we're going to find out a lot about the defense. That's for damn sure. There's so many new – we're going to have to – I feel kind of silly. There we go. So, again, that's the thing that I get asked the most when we talk about the transfer portal. Ty, did they crush it in the portal? What are your thoughts on the defense? That's the number one thing I'm asked more than the offense. And it always surprises me because I'm like, man, was it because we were good on offense last year? For the most part. We were good. We were ranked high in scoring and total offense in and outside the SEC. Is that why people are just like, whatever, let's get – or is it the other thing, how bad Arkansas has been on defense? I think it's pretty obvious. It's just, it's just rare to have great defenses at Arkansas. So if you look again, and I love that we're going to get an answer to this question. I love it. I got the biggest grin on my face because I don't know where a rumor started, and we're going to get to that in a second about what's going on the defense. But that is answered here in a second. But, yeah, if you look at all the pieces, there are a lot of unknowns here. There are a lot of – you've got freshmen. Are you going to get some freshmen in on the action? Again, we know they're excited about some of these guys. I suspect Yarbrough is probably going to get redshirted. 6'5", 245, probably going to need to tack on a little weight and muscle. You look at Trent Sellers, who's going to be a redshirt freshman. I don't know if he's going to get a shot this year or not. He could end up being a baller, right? By the way, I think they have everybody on campus. I think all the transfers are here, and I'm pretty sure. Now, I could be wrong. They're expecting – I think all the high school kids are going to be on campus. They're going to be here for spring ball. Again, when you remember that back in the day – I say back in the day, that was like 5 years ago. You were lucky to get a small handful. Now it's like you're getting them all. There might be a couple of holdouts, and I say holdouts, guys that are just – they got to get some stuff figured out in school. But they're senior year in high school. But I think they're expecting quite a few of them. So that's good news. But again, you look at all the pieces on defense, especially in that secondary. Yeah, change was needed, and you've got to love what they're doing. Whether it's Stoutmeyer at safety, John House, not to be confused with John Quincy Adams, Hawes. Famous in the Tuss Talk with Ty Discord. This is John House. This is someone who's actually taller than he is, 6'1", 195. But then you look at your corners, Lakai Rowland, Jaheim Johnson, who grades out really high. I think he's one of the – I saw PFF post something. He's one of the 8 highest PFF scored corners to land in the SEC. Like I'm pretty sure it was either one of the highest in the SEC or maybe P4. I don't have the graphic. Anyways, he's highly thought of when it comes to PFF scoring. But again, Lakai Rowland, Shelton Lewis, Braden Lee, they're excited about the freshmen. I've heard really good things about Brandon Ford and Jalen Copeland. It's been a while since I've heard about those two, but I know that getting them here and there's some talk about them a little while back. So there's all kinds of good movement here in the secondary. That doesn't necessarily mean it's all going to happen, though, right? Just because we're excited about it doesn't mean it's going to happen. We still got a lot of questions. All right, let's let him keep on going here. This is about comparing the quarterbacks here. Rotate.
Wondering maybe AJ and KJ, if you share how they're similar, how they're different, what are some of the key ways that might determine who is the quarterback one?
Yeah, the AJs and the KJs, they like all the quarterbacks, they love football. And that was one of the things I think at that position, right? Ultimately, we want guys that love football in general. But the quarterback position, they have to be obsessed with it. They have to wake up thinking about being the quarterback of the Arkansas Razorbacks. They have to go to bed thinking about being the quarterback of the Razorbacks. And every decision they make throughout the day, hopefully it's for the betterment of our entire program. And both those young men, especially in all of our Braden Fuller, all of our quarterbacks have that mindset of, okay, how do I make this place better? And what can I do, right? Is it another 2 hours of film study before I go to bed? Is it sending the coaches questions? Hey, on this play call, what are we thinking here? Is it maybe getting with the wide receivers and doing walkthroughs on their own on Saturdays? But they both love ball. They're both adamant about trying to improve themselves, learning, and finding different ways, whether it's with the offensive line coach to discuss protections. And then how are they different? I think we're finding some of the physical skill sets, right? Like we're getting to see him move around a little bit, right? Was able to obviously spend time with AJ last year and watch him in high school, and then KJ watching all his game film and practice film from last year. And now we get to put them in a little bit of physical movement to see how they move, what they may be better at, how they move for different things. So as we implement the offense, if it's one of those two as our quarterbacks, maybe there's different schemes that fit each one, but been quite pleased with the way they've both been working.
So that's all I got out of Silverfield. Like I said, there could have been a lot more. He said a lot. I just didn't have the time to sit because I need to go back, re-listen, and then try to cut up that film, the film, the video. Let me shrink this again. Boop, 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 boop. But I'm going to say this, and you're going to hear him talk about it later, not Silverfield, but Cramsey. It's hard to say this pre-spring. I've already seen some people flapping their gums on X. If a quarterback battle all the way up until August. Now, that's later on. We're going to get to what was exactly said about the quarterback battle and the quarterback issue. Some people are taking this as they don't have a quarterback. People saying that, look, they could end up being true. They could end up being right. I should say that, right. They should end up being right. They could end up being right. But it's not even spring camp. And it sounds like they just want a battle. They don't know anything about these two in terms of how they're going to operate in their system in a Cardinal red jersey. And you also have to consider the the personnel around them. They don't know what they have yet. They got to get them on the field. And I've already seen someone flapping their gums on X about how, they don't have a quarterback. Oh my God, dude, just at least get through the end of spring camp before you make a comment like that. We don't know what they have and what they don't have. That could be the case, but they're not going to come out and especially when you got two guys who they have at that position. Both of them are capable starters. You're not going to come out and just say, hey, we got our starter. We got our guy. You're not going to do that. You want competition. Iron sharpens iron. That was a frequent KJ Jefferson term. Give it time. If we get through the end of camp, and hell, I won't even be – I mean, I say that now. Who knows? If by the end of spring camp you don't know – I don't know. We'll take it one step at a time. It could be a good thing. Could be that both guys are very capable in this offense. I don't know. It's just too early to be jumping to conclusions like that. Okay, here we go. Defensive identity. Remember what I said earlier? There was a rumor out there that they were going to run a 3-front. That was the craziest shit I've ever heard. When you're not paying attention. If you think that's the case, you are not paying attention to what they were doing in the portal and in the high school recruiting. It is clear that they were not going to run just a 3-front. I still don't know where the hell that started. If that was a paid board thing, if that was a Facebook group thing, I don't know. But here we go. Here's we're going to hear about it.
Overarching defensive principles that you come with and just meshing with the way Ryan wants to do things, how that's gone so far.
Yeah, we're going to be multiple. I mean, we're going to be odd, 4 down. We'll be multiple one just because.
Swindle, did you start that rumor? They are not going with just a 3-front. He just said it right there. They're going multiple. That means they could go 3, they could go 4, they might do something crazy, but they're most likely going. It sounds very similar to what we've seen before at Arkansas, where they're gonna match with what they have on the field or what they're playing against on the field. They are not strictly a 3-front defense. He just said it. We're multiple. Now, if he comes out and that's what they end up doing, now you've got to feel pretty confident about the athletes behind those 3, and you got to feel very confident about those 3 up front on the defensive line. That's going to be the question. Do they have the personnel to run a 3-front in terms of talent? And, the question was asked earlier, do you have the quality depth? Do you have it there? In Silverfield, they feel like they do, but no coach is going to come out and say we've got more. No, we're not. Oh, by the way, Silverfield also said they're mostly done in the portal. So that walk-on guard they picked up, I guess that's going to be the last. And he is a walk-on. They are expecting more walk-ons, but for that last spot that that we were talking about several weeks back, that they were actively recruiting someone. Well, he committed elsewhere, and then I guess they just decided that we're gonna go with this walk-on guard, who I think they actually feel pretty confident that he could find his way into the 3 deep. I like his attitude. Ron Roberts, says Robertson 85. I do too. But they are not strictly a 3-front. He just said it. We're gonna be multiple front. We're going to be multiple, which would imply they're going to go. It's going to be 3 and 4-man front.
You got to be able every year trying to figure out who our guys are and what roles and what they do best. So I think you have to be multiple to be adapt to your personnel on year-to-year basis, and then obviously what you're seeing nowadays in college football and the variety of things you're getting. So we'll be multiple. We'll be pressure-oriented. The number one thing, the first thing is going to be the being technically sound and make sure we run to the football.
Yeah, a quarterback competition, quarterback controversy, whatever you want to call it, is an all day, every day.
Oh, we skipped right to the next one. So there you have it. It is going to be a multiple front, as we just discussed. We were venturing into the quarterback controversy part of the video. Or part of the interview. But, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button. Make sure you hit all. That way you know when we're going live. And the poll, pick Arkansas, or pick the winner, Arkansas-Bama. 83% of you, holy God, 83% of you have Arkansas winning this game. Damn, y'all are confident. Holy cow, I was not expecting that. We got a number of people who've not even bothered taking the poll, so I don't know. Take the damn poll. Take the poll. It's not that difficult. You just click the button on your screen. So 83% of you. Wow. Did not. I figured it would be heavy in Arkansas's favor, not 83 to 17%. Fish says, I said we're going to lose. Don't forget the post-live comment, the post-live question. Fish, you can get in on this too, man. You can get in on this too. All you got to do is, after the live show, in the comment section, give me your winner. Tell me who you're picking. And if you want, you can go into more depth as to why. You don't have to. Just say I'm taking Arkansas or Alabama. But if you want to go into, and then what you do, you take a shot, you take a screenshot, not a shot, but a screenshot, and then you post that in Discord, tag me, and you're going to get 5K XP, just like that. It's real simple. Fish, even you can do it. I've got faith in you, Fish. You could do it, man. Prove these guys wrong. They were telling me in chat, they were like, yeah, we don't think he could do it. They were telling me that. They were DMing me that just now. They're like, no, Fish can't do it. So I don't know, Fish. Maybe you ought to prove them wrong. And then I also had heard that you guys don't share the content that much. Man, I don't know. I think you got to prove those people wrong too. You ought to share the content. Megan says NBA score. It's gonna be a lot of points. We could be wrong, man. It might be absolutely crazy, and they do something insane, and it's actually a defensive game. But that ain't happening. Both these teams are not good on defense. Ty, I think this is from Hog Blitz. I think I think it is KJ. He would not have stayed otherwise. I think it is coach speak. I am pretty confident that I don't know. I'm pretty confident that I'm not sure. I'm not sure in who this is and who it's going to be. I'm not sure. KJ Jackson has all the tools to be pretty damn good. And what we saw out of him, I mean, did he lose? I know he fumbled the ball, but I don't remember if he lost a fumble. I'm pretty sure that dude had at least, I mean, he had 5 total touchdowns, no picks. I think he completed close to 62% of his throws. And again, a play that he made late in the year against an SEC opponent, if memory serves, where he steps up into the pocket, makes the throw, and gets absolutely blasted. And that throw ends up being a touchdown. It showed maturity in the pocket. It's very impressive. It's very impressive. And I think he did that a couple of times, taking the hit while throwing the ball. And one of them was a really impressive touchdown. I don't remember who caught it, but I like KJ Jackson. I would say he's probably the odds-on favorite because of his experience last year, although it was a different offense. You can make the argument that, you know what? It's a quarterback battle because A.J. Hill knows we say this system, but we know that he knows what the expectations are at the very least. Traveling over with Cramsey and Silverfield might give him an advantage. Again, we often talk about the vernacular. That is still something that's going to carry over from Memphis, and A.J. Hill's going to understand the vernacular of the offense, or at least of the way they word out their play calling, right? The language matters, and understanding the language. I could tell you there's some, spider Y2 banana, right? You guys have heard that? What the hell does that mean? What are you learning out of that? Well, that's what you would call, that's play calling vernacular. That's understanding what each of those words means. It goes to something. It's telling the offensive line what direction they're stepping in. You're giving out route information when you call that play. So that's the vernacular, right? And then there's other stuff too, just like when the quarterback's calling out protections, if he's sliding protection, there's language there because you don't want a defense catching on to what you're doing. So that matters. And someone like A.J. Hill, you want to say KJ Hill. Maybe I did. A.J. Hill. A.J. Hill probably understands a lot of that, right? Understands the language, and that's going to matter. But KJ Jackson, I've heard nothing but great. Again, outstanding kid, smart, good head on his shoulders. He's young. He's going to make mistakes in life. We all do, but he's someone that doesn't strike me as a dumb kid at all. I think he's going to pick this thing up. I hope he does. I hope he picks up the offense. All right, let's finish. Let's let them continue talking here.
Evaluation of who those guys are, what they do in the meeting room, what they do in the classroom. Eventually what they do on the spring football field, summertime. What they're doing in our morning workout. So that competition is going to be going on for a long time. We won't have an answer till middle of fall camp, or really maybe as we approach closer to the first game. Because we're going to let those guys have good days. We're going to let them have bad days. We're going to see how they react. We're going to see how they react to certain situations and scrimmages. We'll see if Coach wants to take a jersey off and let him play real football. We'll see how Coach feels about that.
That ain't happening. No coach is going to let their quarterbacks take hits. But it tells you a lot, though. You can learn a lot about a guy when he gets smacked, when he's just given an absolute shot. Sometimes guys just don't know how to react. You wonder if had Talon Green, no coach in their right mind is ever going to do this. But you wonder if Talon Green had maybe taken shots in practice, they would have cut down those fumbles. I'm still not sold that they actively worked on turnovers, like on fumbles, on ball security. I'm not convinced that they did. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they did the stick thing, the 12-foot long stick where they're hitting the running backs. At the end of it, it's got like a boxing glove or something. They're trying to shake that ball loose. You've seen the drill. I'm sure they did some of that, but I don't think that ball security was a priority the last 2 years. You're just not going to convince me otherwise. As much as Arkansas put the ball in the field, it was better last year than the year before, but it was still too much.
Because that's when you really find out who your guy is. And we got to know who our guy is prior to going into week one. But don't quote me on that. That's coach's decision. All right, that's coach's decision. To me, that's a way you kind of get a feel for who is really going to be able to do it. You get that false sense of security sometimes in a jersey, a different color jersey. When that defensive end comes around the edge, can actually put a shot on you, man. Then if you can be cool in the pocket, if you can handle that type of pressure. So that competition is nonstop all day, every day. What they do in the morning, what they do in the meetings that we meet with them, how that goes. It's been great so far. It's a friendly but competitive situation in that room. They're talking to each other, helping each other out. They're communicating with each other. They push each other. So that's kind of what it is. In the end goal is we got to win, bottom line. So the best guy in that room is going to play. The guy who gives us the best opportunities, the guy who's going to play, and that decision's going to be made over a lot of spring, summer, and fall camp practices. It does.
Yeah, so I don't buy that they don't have a quarterback. So, again, if you see someone say that on X, tell them, I think you're overreacting, bro. Maybe sit down, drink a cold beer. Or maybe don't. Maybe you don't need to drink a cold. Maybe that's the problem. You're drinking too much.
A little bit. You have a couple guys who already know the system, who already knows what the words are in the system. It helps me a little bit because a couple guys I already know their skill set. I know what they can do. To me, that's going to be the biggest thing this spring. Yeah, it's a developmental spring. Yeah, it's an install spring as always. Okay, but this is also a big fact-finding. I can probably speak for these guys as it is a fact-finding spring as to what our guys can do and what who can do what. And we talked about the quarterback controversy, but really everybody's going in with a blank slate. Everybody's going in with a opportunity to play, an opportunity whatever happened to them at Arkansas last year, whatever happened to them at the other places they've been at. It's a blank slate. It's erased. Day one of practice, we'll find out who's who and what they can do and what we can do with them. And that's kind of where the scheme comes in. We have a certain scheme we like in the offense, but that scheme is dependent upon what we can do. I always say I don't expect my players to match my scheme. I expect my scheme to match my players. And once we find out what they can do, then that's who we're going to be.
So there you have it. He said it, and that's the offense coordinator. We're going to try the scheme is going to fit around them and what the personnel is. And I that's not unheard of. That's not something, coaches often say that. I think when you boil it down, there's still kind of there's an identity to what he wants to do, but he really wants to, I think he wants to coach with what he has. Now, these two, Hill and Jackson, are similar, but not so much. Obviously, KJ Jackson, more of a dual threat left-handed quarterback. He's an athlete. AJ Hill he likes to sit in the pocket and break defenses down. He might be more cerebral. I don't know. Again, there's nothing about KJ Jackson's game that says otherwise, that he's not either, that he can't be cerebral. But AJ Hill seems to me more like a guy that wants to sit in the pocket and try and deliver a throw. But we saw KJ Jackson do the exact same. So again, I think they want to get through spring camp. It sounds like they are not going to give us a starter until fall camp, maybe even leading up to the week till week 1. And that's going to drive Hog fans crazy. That's going to drive – well, it's going to be good content for content creators, but for the media, for the people who get paid no matter what they do, that's going to probably drive them crazy. They want a quarterback to talk about, in the controversy, whatever you want to call it, the quarterback battle is also fun to write about. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they like writing about that stuff too, but I'm also like, I want to know, I would like to know coming out of spring camp, like who's your guy, who you leaning towards. I don't know that they're going to do that. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe everything they just said was all coach speak and they're going to have their guy, regardless. And maybe they do tell us, maybe they don't. I don't know. They did talk about Braden Fuller. I didn't record that part, but I think they're pretty confident he's gonna compete. He's gonna try and get in there, get in the mix. Someone had brought up, I think it was Camo, who brought up the War on the Hill. Now, I originally did have that cut, and I was going to talk about it. Silverfield went on about this, and then he was even asked a follow-up question about the War on the Hill. He went on. It felt like 10 minutes was just dedicated to War on the Hill. It sounds to me like the Communist Party social credit system. Like they were talking about how they hand out points. Aren't they doing this in China? in China? Aren't they doing that in China? Like they're handing out, you get points for if you're a good citizen. They're doing this with the football team. And they're talking about a player who apparently parked in the wrong parking spot. And, well, that's going to be a deduction from that team. So there's, I think the way it was brought up, like an assistant coach, I don't think the coordinators are actually coaches. They're going to be like analysts to all this, right? And they're going to try and learn extra things about their players, I guess. I don't know. But like these assistants, maybe it's GAs, I'm not sure, they got to hand pick like a snake draft, like a draft, the players they wanted, and they created their own little teams. Now, to do I think the social media team, or maybe it was Silverfield, someone really fumbled that. There was no explanation as to what the hell they were doing. And I got people asking me, like, what is this? I'm like, I have no idea, man. Maybe some other media people knew about it. I had no clue what the hell they were doing. But Silverfield did go in, and I mean, he went into specifics about what it is. I urge you to go listen to it. The goal of it is, and I'm sure he's not the first coach to do this, but it does sound like a pretty good idea on paper, a lot like some other things, but they end up not working out. But trying to drive up competition and camaraderie between the players. I like that. I think that's actually pretty cool. But it's like, what are you going to deduct, 50 points from Team Gryffindor because one of the players, maybe Quincy Rhodes, didn't help Gam across the street? Like, what are we doing? Are we gonna really? Is that where we're going? Are we gonna hack into the cameras around campus and we're gonna do the Face ID thing? We're gonna be like, he did not turn in his paper on time. That team is now in trouble. You're in deep shit, buddy. Your Team Gryffindor is gonna lose 100 points. I like it. I think it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, in China, it's like YouTube now is really not going to push the content. I'm talking ill of China. But China has like a social credit system where like if a citizen, they literally scan the faces of these citizens. I don't know if they're still doing it, if it was like a trial thing. I don't think it's propaganda. I think this is real. I think they're really doing this. Where like if you mess up enough, if in the social system out there, if you maybe you get a ticket or something, or maybe you get in a fist fight and it's caught on camera, it counts against you, and you're not allowed, like if you rack up enough negative points, like you can't buy things, I guess. I don't know. At least a credit system like what we have here, you have to opt into. Well, I mean, yeah, like you have to opt into it, and you gotta be good on your payments. This is different than a social credit system in China. It's I mean, anytime you got the old communist, no good, no bueno. Anyways, that's what it sounds like they're doing here. They're doing like a if you volunteer. He went on talking about their volunteering. I guess they delivered the most cans. Canned whatever vegetables or something to was it Salvation Army or was it the VA? I think it was the VA. Like the most they've ever done before. That's awesome, man. If you get something good out of it, that's great. That's awesome. YouTube is malfunctioning. It has been. YouTube is. Don't get me started on the algorithm stuff. Don't even get me started. Been an ongoing conversation between myself and some other creators. Scott Swindle says, "Yeah, it's called a credit score. It is, but at least you're not, in China the way it's implemented is it's a social credit, not a like a financial credit. China's social credit score is some scary stuff. It is, Fish. You're right. 1,500 sounded light. I'm sorry. Is that what they said? 1,500? Yeah. When he said that, he kind of made it sound like it was the most they ever received. The VA, and I'm thinking like, surely not. Maybe I think he meant maybe from the university. I don't know. Swaggy, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Let me scroll up here. Yeah, the house points in Harry Potter. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Team Gryffindor. I think it could be cool. I think it could work out for him. I don't know. Well, I guess I'm sure they're going to ask the players. I'm sure the media will ask the players kind of how that's going. Maybe it'll help, and it'll find its way onto the field, and it'll give these guys some kind of a. You'll find out who your leaders are. You'll find out who your team leaders are. You'll have a pretty good idea of who your captains are. The guys with the. That are just good humans. And then also it's also going to be implemented in like their practices too. So it's not just like what they do outside the athletic department or outside the their locker room or their dorms. It sounds like it's also like it's on the football field as well. Man, my electric bill was from last month. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry to hear that, Scott. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe. My God, we're talking about electric bills. There was something someone said up here, and I want to find it. Texan says Arkansas hasn't fielded a cerebral quarterback in a hot minute. Brandon Allen might have been the last. Tyler Wilson. I mean, Mallett was just raw arm strength. But he could also sit back and he could rip those defenses apart. I mean, he was great at it. But yeah, I think Brandon Allen might have been the last. Weed out the leaders from the followers. There you go. The team players from the individuals, etc. Yeah. Well, one can hope they get this all figured out. Me thinking Harry Potter, Ty going on a China rant. Wasn't trying to go on a China rant. I wasn't trying. Mm-hmm. Matt Jones was not a cerebral quarterback, Kopesky. Come on now. Let's not go there. He was fantastic. Take off and run, and you're already 20 yards behind him, even if you take a good. He was an athlete. He was a forward playing quarterback. Yeah. All right. So Arkansas on the road at Florida. I'm kidding. At Alabama. Big game for so many different reasons. Now, like I said, Alabama, I'm pretty sure they have the most 3-point attempts in the country. It's wild. It's like 35, 36 attempts per game. It's absolutely crazy. Now, when you take that many, sometimes you know what, you're going to miss you're going to miss a lot of those shots. Again, I mean, we're talking about 36 attempts. They're shooting 36% outside. So that means your overall shooting is going to take a little bit of a hit. I've watched them play. Not the most. I haven't. They're not the most that I've watched this year. Like, I watched them a lot last year. I'd say they're one of the top 3 last year. I'd say they're probably top 4, top 5 that I've watched this year. But I watched a lot of Auburn, and I've nailed Auburn. I nailed Auburn. Those guys are mid AF. Mid AF. Watched a little bit of Missouri and Tech. I've watched a little bit of everybody, to be fair. The thing that does stand out about Alabama is they are, again, it's what we just mentioned. What the most obvious thing in the world is they shoot an ass ton of threes. I've seen them pass up easy looks inside, kick it out, and knock down a 3. They are very capable. Now, they're struggling a little bit, 8-4 in conference play, 18-7. They're not on the they went to Florida. They got absolutely, Bama got smoked 100-77. They lost to Tennessee at home. Remember, Arkansas beat Tennessee at home. They lost to Texas at home. This is not like going to Florida. This is not like going down to the swamp. This is, their home crowd can get loud. This is going to be a big game for them. You better believe they're going to show the hell up. Now, Philon is a tremendous scorer. He can move the ball around well. He's also he plays the spot well, right? He averages, I think, right around 5 assists per game, but 21 and a half points per game. He's just a hell of a shooter. If there's anyone who can score from just about anywhere on the floor, it is Philon and Acuff. Those are going to be the 2 most watched guys on the floor, no doubt. This is such an interesting battle on just so many different levels, man. 2 high scoring offenses. Again, these guys, they score 92 points a game. 92. Arkansas is knocking on the door of 90, I think. They rebound exceptionally well. 21st in the country. 41 rebounds per game. They're pretty average on the offensive board. They're not that far ahead of you. I think they're 12 offensive rebounds per game, and Arkansas is hovering around, 11 offensive boards. So they're not way out in front of you there. But overall, as a rebounding team, they're 3rd best in the SEC. It's 41. They're in that 40-plus club in total rebounds. Again, man, this is how they're going to get you. This is exactly how they're going to get you. And they get, like I said, they're north of 12 offensive boards per game. You need to fight them on the glass. You need to fight them on the glass. Don't give up second chance opportunities against Alabama. Don't let them rip you to shreds there. Now, another thing they do extremely well, they are also in the 75% plus club at the line, at the charity stripe. They actually average 76% at the free throw line, making about 19 free throws a game. Okay, that's, Arkansas is hovering around. That number's kind of gone all over the place for them. I think at one point, what was it, before conference play? They were like 70. They were about 76%. I mean, they were one of the better free throw shooting teams in the country, or in the SEC rather. And now they've been falling, and now they're slowly kind of, I don't know. They're all over the place. They're kind of picking it up, and then they falter. They're 73%. Would love to see them hit their get close to 74, 75 on the road percentage wise. And I'd love to see them get some contact fouls, get those guys in trouble. Acuff, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the officials are like, what does it matter? He's going to make this shot anyways. I don't know why the guy, as often as he drives straight to the freaking rim, it is crazy to me that he isn't, that he's not getting more opportunities at the line. But again, they know what's up. You better not foul him. You got to play him smart. There's some of that too. There's just some of these guys that understand, don't foul this guy. It's the last thing we need is for someone to get into some foul trouble trying to deal with him. He could beat you off the dribble. Guards, they don't reach in on him. I mean, I think that's part of the reason too why he doesn't draw a lot of, when he does get contact, he fights right through it. He's got great mobility, and his the way he absorbs the contact. There's just not very many that I've seen at Arkansas that are as good as he is. And then we know he's got mid range. We know he can drop down or drop the 3 ball outside. Well, anyways, moving off A-Cup for a second. Arkansas needs to get to the line here. They need to. I'd love to see them beat them also in the fouls. I'd like to see them rack up some attempts. That's a way where you can maybe counteract what they do. Obviously, you're going to want to push the ball. You're going to want to go up and down the floor and try and wear them out. You have everybody available, as far as I know. I don't think anyone's. I think we're still good, right? I didn't see a injury report, but yeah, how you defend them out on the perimeter, try to get them in a little bit of foul trouble. And on the road, that's next to impossible to do. I know it is. So you're going to have to play. I don't think you have to play absolute perfect basketball to win this game, but you got to be pretty damn close. Now, Alabama is one of those teams when they get hot outside, dear God. I mean, they could run you right out of the damn arena. And I think when they get hot outside, they look like a legit Elite Eight Final Four team. Again, they have so many deficiencies on defense. They, to me, are a pretender. I don't like Alabama. There's that style, that system. I could be wrong, man, and I realize what Nate Oates has done before, but this year with that lineup, with that defense, I just don't know if they're a team that goes very far. I can maybe see them going on a Sweet 16 run. Again, matchups and who they play matters. I always want to point that out. And you could say the same thing about Arkansas, right? We know Arkansas's defense is also slumped and at times is embarrassingly bad against really bad offenses. That Ole Miss game sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Ole Miss is horrible on offense, man. They're still dead last in the league in points scored per game. They're dead last in field goal percentage at 43%. And Arkansas let them just do whatever they wanted. And that game just sticks out. I think Arkansas is playing better defense than when they played Ole Miss. I'm not trying to shift gears too much. But I think it's improved. I think the defense has certainly improved since then. But I'm also with Tim. And when he said that, we really didn't learn anything when they beat LSU, was LSU Auburn when he said that? And I think he's right. We didn't learn much. I do like the execution. It was there. The hustle was there. But, yeah, who you played, it certainly matters. And we know Alabama. Listen, Arkansas has also got another bad habit. They're fouling guys outside. Now, I don't know how many times they've done it this year, but it feels like once every other game they're fouling someone outside. I don't know the exact number. Maybe Hogstats has it. Don't want to do that. When a team shoots this many threes, when it makes up a huge chunk of their offense and the amount of attempts outside that they shoot, again, it's 36 attempts outside. You better be disciplined and not leave your feet. Give them room when they drop off their shot. Don't get in their way. You're going to get hit, especially on the road. They're going to hit you with that foul. So don't give up any 4-point opportunities or 3 shots at the line. Don't do that. Again, it's not a horrendous issue for Arkansas, but we have seen them. It feels like every other game they're fouling someone outside. And pretty sure they had a game this year where they did it twice in a single game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was another team I watched and they happen to be wearing red. I don't know. But just got to be careful, right? When you're pairing up against these guys outside, be careful. Don't leave your feet, and don't give them room to land when don't make any contact with them. Get your hands up, but be smart about it, right? So, oh my God. Okay. I appreciate everyone for being here. Those of you that stuck it out, I really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night for the post game. Remember Knox report is Knox and Sealy are out. Really? Knox is out. Well, I guess that makes sense. There you go. Ewan is good at drawing fouls in the paint. We must use that to our advantage versus Bama. I agree. Ewan could play a pretty big role for sure. All right. Well, anyways, again, shout out to Direct Service Overhead and Patreon supporters for being supporters. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow night after the game. I don't know what the plan is, but I'll be here one way or another. I don't know if we're going to have Tim or Travis or not, but I'll be here one way or another for the post game. Thank God it's a 6 p.m. tip off. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.